Welcome, guys. It's noon Central Standard Time on Saturday. Today's June 29th, and we want to welcome you to Arbitrage Q&A. We continue to be excited at Just One Dime about what you can do as you set up an Amazon business focused on arbitrage. We love arbitrage. I think we're growing in our love for arbitrage, and we're seeing how it can be really effective for you to add margin, gain margin, as we like to say, to do the things that you love with the people you love. And we're really seeing how a lot of people are being able to leverage their efforts in the world of arbitrage to support other efforts that they're making to sell on Amazon. Some people are partnering arbitrage with wholesale and seeing success. Others are using arbitrage as a baseline and a foundation for them to begin to establish their own brand on Amazon. They're entering into the private label world on the foundation of having already built an Amazon business using arbitrage. And we just think that that's exciting. We think that for you to be able to start to realize your dreams and your aspirations and to press in more and more into the things that are a passion of yours and that are in accord with your convictions, that's just reason to get excited. To add margin to your budget and to add margin to your life so that you have more freedom to explore the opportunities you have to pursue those things is fantastic. And so that's why we're here. That's why we take time every Saturday to come here and to interact with you about arbitrage and about selling on Amazon by leveraging different markets. Of course, that's all arbitrage is. It's taking advantage of one market and finding a commodity in that market that you can buy at a low price, and then turning around and finding another market where you can sell that same commodity, but at a higher price, and you make a profit. And that's all we're doing in the world of arbitrage is we're finding retail products, both in local stores and online. And then we're taking advantage of the great opportunity we have through the Amazon marketplace to sell that product at a profit. And if you do that enough times, you suddenly realize significant margin in your life. And suddenly you find that you're able to get out of debt. You're able to purchase things that your family has dreamed about having. You can spend more time with family. We'll get into what some of the goals can be. And I want to ask you a little bit about what your personal goals are so that you're thinking about, what does my heart want if I had the opportunity to explore with freedom what my desires, my convictions, and my aspirations really are. I want to say hi to some folks that I see commenting. Alex, Ra'al, Farah, Ahmed, loving it. We're glad that you're on. Guys, I want to encourage you that if you're with us right now, type in your questions, give us your thoughts, respond to the things that we're saying, and interact with us. We want this to be an hour that's jam-packed with productive and helpful tools for you. We really want to serve you. We want to help you to make gains in expanding the very margin that I'm talking about. So I've got a couple ideas. I want to talk a little bit about goals. I have something fun that I want to share from my own personal experience this weekend. I have an item that we can look at and talk a little bit about. But before we get to that, I want to introduce my special guest today. You guys, most of you guys know Allan Urizar. I want him to just step in and say hello. He's with me for this hour.
Hello, Eric. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here and very excited because, we have an opportunity to share with you guys our experience and help you with any questions about arbitrage. So yeah, excited to be here, and let's do it, man.
All right. I love the excitement. I love how the adrenaline gets flowing when we start thinking and talking about these things. I want to tell you guys something today that's just really fun from my personal experience. Years ago, I dreamt about what it would be like to really move forward with some of the convictions I have. For years and years, I've served in our local church. It's something I'm really passionate about. I love doing ministry at that church, and I really try to spend as much time and energy as I have investing in the life of my church. My wife and I try to be significant participants, and we're raising our kids there. But I also have worked a full-time job at IBM. I've been a cybersecurity and privacy consultant, and that demands between 45 and 50 hours a week of my time. And then I have 4 children, all under the age of 8, and they take a lot of my time. And I just love and enjoy spending time with my wife. And so you can imagine I'm busy, and I've tried to figure out how to do my own business. And for over 4 years now, I've been able to establish my own business. And so all of that is really fun and exciting stuff. And I've been really thankful for the job at IBM. But being a security consultant has never been the thing that makes me really passionate and really excited. I think it's an honorable profession, and I've worked hard at it. And I like being able to press into creating security and setting up a framework where it's helping security. I think that's I've counted that a noble profession. But I'm excited to say that as of 4 o'clock yesterday, I sort of fired my boss, in that I put in my last hours at IBM, and solely because of my Amazon business, or at least in large part because of my Amazon business, I was able to put away that job. I'm thankful that I had it, but I was able to say no to that job and now say yes to a full-time pastoral position at my church, where I can really be doing what I'm passionate and excited about. And this was my most recent goal when it came to my Amazon arbitrage business, because I just started to dream and think, if I was able to expand my business and expand my margin and really kind of make the kind of additional money that I wanted, what would it look like to be able to actually make a career change? And for some of you out there, it's saying, I would love to fire my boss and go full time selling on Amazon, and maybe just doing arbitrage full time. There are plenty of people that do that. For me, I wanted to try to design a part-time business that would really serve my ability to minister at the church. So what I've been able to do is to accept and even talk to the other pastors about taking a significant pay cut, coming into the church and serving, because that's really where my heart is. I'm not doing that because of the money, but it's because I have this margin building business behind me that's really enabling me to do that. And so I want to ask you today, what is it that really gets your heart going? What is it that really makes you passionate and excited? What are your core convictions driving you to want to do above all else? I saw somebody in the comments say, let's see, where is it? The freedom to travel, to be able to help others in complete financial independence. I mean, Dylan, that's a fantastic goal, to have the freedom to travel. Just dream for a second, if that's what you're passionate about what it would be like to have the freedom, because your Amazon business is creating margin for you, to travel when you wanted to, and to go places, and to be in some exotic location where you can still tend your Amazon business, still work the arbitrage business, but now you're able to explore and enjoy the experience of being in that new place. Or you travel somewhere where you can visit an old friend or a family member, and while you're doing that, you're still able to tend to your Amazon business. I mean, just imagine what that would be like. I know 5 years ago, I was in a situation where, though I had this good job at IBM, our budget was really tight, and we didn't own a home. In fact, we were in debt. We were in about $20,000 worth of debt between student loans and a car payment we had. So that's not an insurmountable piece of debt, but it was just really preventing us from being able to save money and eventually buy a house, which was one of my goals. And it was through discovering Amazon and being able to do arbitrage on Amazon that I began to kind of pick those goals off. Get out of debt, check. Purchase a car for the family, check. And I'm just thrilled that one step after another, the business has really been able to serve my purposes. I talk to so many people who own their own businesses, and the business controls them. It kind of tells them what to do. The business says jump, they have to say how high. And I love that this model, this Amazon business, can serve me, so that I can dictate to the business how it's going to promote the things that I want to do. For those of you just joining, and I'm seeing some of you, Marcy, J1Tube, Chaz, I'm not Seth Kniep. I understand that, but he has graciously partnered with me and allowed me to partner with him to use his channel, because we're talking about arbitrage. So keep bringing your questions, your arbitrage questions. My guest, Allan, and I really want to be helpful to you, and we want to answer your questions. So fill up the chat with your questions. We want to take them on and help you. Allan, I want to give you a chance. You know, as we get started, we're talking about dreams and goals, and I think it's so fun to be able to leverage a business on Amazon to be able to actualize these goals. And I'm having an exciting weekend because I'm experiencing one of those. And sometimes there's discouraging seasons where you're not always experiencing that. But Allan, I just wondered if you could speak from your experience and talk a little bit about what you've been dreaming about, what your goals are at this point.
Well, for me, I always tell people, kind of jokingly, but it's been that way in the last 3 years. I feel like I haven't been working for the last 3 years. I was able to sell my other business. I had a trucking business, and I was working really hard for 9 years, spending a lot of time without family, and really sacrificing a lot of my time to be able to, make money and bring enough money to the house and everything. So 3 years ago, I was able to go full time on my Amazon business, and for the last 3 years, I was gonna tell you when you were talking about dreams and everything. We don't you don't really have to dream of winning the lottery or having $1 million. A good $2,000 a month where you can quit your job or stop what you're doing and just focus on this business 100%. That could be a very good goal, and it's more achievable because you can really focus and work really hard and achieve that in a few months, maybe a year or so. So a lot of people, when they, in reality, we don't need to to dream about $50,000 a month in profit, $100,000. We can get there eventually if we work hard, but if we do $2,000-$3,000, enough money to cover our expenses. And that was my goal when I switched to my Amazon business. I was doing very good in the trucking business, with 3 trucks, managing people, driving, but it was like I was a slave to that business, and I didn't have enough time to spend with my family. So in the last 3 years, I've been able to do the Amazon business. I've been able to work with Seth in Just One Dime, and this is not really a job or something I can consider work. I just enjoy everything I'm doing. I'm traveling. I'm doing a lot of different things. But it all starts with our business on Amazon, making sure that our business is running and it's bringing enough income. And for me, my goals this year is double my business. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, but I'm really trying to understand and start scaling my business by using other people like virtual assistants, and using other people to scale my business. So my goals for this year is, I posted something on our Arbitrage community that I reached one goal this year so far, but my goal is 3 times what I have right now in terms of sales. And somebody was saying, how can you triple in the next 6 months? Well, I'm scaling with more people. Not I cannot do everything myself. I don't have enough time to do it myself. But I'm trying to hire more people, hire BAs, and really triple the business. And if I don't get it, and if I only get to double my business, I won't be sad. I won't be mad. I'll be happy. I'm doubling my business. But I really think this next year, or by the end of this year, I should be tripling my business using other scaling my business with BAs.
Now, you said a couple of things that caught my attention there, Allan. One is you answered Alvaro's question. He asked, do you have people working for you? Allan's answer is yes. He's taking advantage of VAs. That stands for virtual assistants. And so he's got people, maybe they're located in the US, maybe they're not, but because of the beauty of a virtual assistant, they're able to work as employees. They're able to serve your business, and they can be located at all different places around the world, and they can work in all different ways at all different times of the day. So Allan's answer is yes. Alvaro, my answer is no. I've never had anybody work for me. Part of the reason is I'm probably a control freak, and I get nervous when I think about doing that. But I've been learning from Allan, and I'm challenged by his example of wanting to scale his business. I'd like to scale mine too, and I'd like to do it without doubling my time and energy and my workload. And I think there comes a time when you begin to recognize I can delegate some of this. It's worth investing the extra money that it might cost to pay somebody to work in order to move the business forward. So you've got 2 examples of people who have done it very differently and been successful, but I'm starting to think a little differently as to whether or not I want to pursue that. The second thing, Allan, that you said that was interesting to me is just not being a slave to in your example, not being a slave to the trucking industry or whatever your employer is foisting upon you. And of course, we expect our employers to do that. That's the arrangement. That's why we're getting paid. So we don't have to be bitter about that necessarily, but I appreciate Marcy's passion. She says, my passion is not punching a clock. It would be nice, wouldn't it, to just be able to work when you want to work. And Alex says, my goal is to retire before I'm 40 years old. Now, I imagine underneath Alex's goal are all sorts of goals. Maybe it's really a picture, a vision of what his life could be like if he got out from under that direct employment. My guess is that, he wouldn't want to sit around and eat bonbons for his 40s and 50s, but he's got other passions and desires that he'd want to pursue. And so I think what we're talking about is not trying to escape hard work, not wanting to escape, to a life of isolation and boredom and purposelessness. That's not really what we're talking about, but we're saying, how can we really grab hold of the things that get me excited? How can we grab hold of what is for each of you a passion and an aspiration that maybe you're having trouble really experiencing because just of your situation, maybe because of bad decisions you've made in the past, or maybe because of circumstances that have overwhelmed you. I mean, we all find ourselves in challenging places sometimes. And I love how we're beginning to see that there's a way to move forward in that regard. So I want to get to your questions. I'm excited that there's questions in here. I see them. Allan, I'm going to bring one to you in a couple minutes, but first I want to share my screen and I want to just talk a little bit about this item. You should be able to see here a 73-piece party set.
Yes, we can see it.
All right. This is an American Ninja Warrior party set. And I thought I'd use this as an example. This is currently selling on Amazon for $37.95. And it's selling at a pretty good rate. I don't know the exact number, but my guess would be that this is maybe selling 10 to 20 per month, maybe even closer to the 30 of these are selling every single month. And I was able to purchase these at $8.95. So this is a real good example of what we do in the world of arbitrage. I live in Vermont. There's a little store in Vermont that's a discount store that I like to stop in at once in a while. And it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that I happened on this item. And I gave it a look. I scanned it with my Amazon seller app, and I looked at it, and I thought, this is a product that could work. I began to analyze the product, and I was convinced that this was what we call a quality product. Not that it was kind of a fancy, sparkly product, but it was one that I thought would make me money and would sell well on Amazon. And so after analyzing this product, I bought all of them that they had. Now, they only had 8. But each one of those cost me $8.95. They're selling for $37.95. And so my profit on each one of these, if they sell at that amount, would be $17.48. That's an ROI of 195%, which I just thought was a fantastic example. So here's this item I was able to come across right here in my hometown at a store that's like 10 minutes from my house. I can't say this for sure, but I think I was on my lunch break from work and swung through there on the way back to work and found these items, put them in my trunk, got home, sent them into a fulfillment center, and now they're selling at a profit, an ROI of 195%. So that means if I spent, approximately $9 a piece, I'm going to be making like $16 or $17 on each item. Now imagine if you found this kind of item every day for a month, so that you were really able to multiply the money that you were making. Or if you were able to go online and find similar items and pair those items with ones that you're finding in local stores. Now you begin to imagine how you can leverage the Amazon marketplace. I mean, somebody who lives in Oregon or Phoenix, Arizona, or oftentimes international sellers buy from Amazon.com. In little old Vermont, I can find these party sets and I can sell them on a market that's reaching all over the place. And so somebody wants to have a birthday party for their kid that loves American Ninja Warrior and they live in California, they can buy my product in a matter of days after I purchase them here in Vermont. But again, I'm leveraging 2 markets. for whatever reason at this discount store in Vermont, they were happy to get rid of these at $9 a piece. And I took advantage of this market and then leveraged the online Amazon market where the going rate for these is $38. And so there you can see where the opportunity to make profit exists. And now the goal is to multiply that. So now you're on a treasure hunt to find opportunities like this many times over. And this is an example of how you do it. So I want to take your dream of making your aspirations a reality and then bring it down to ground level and say, this is how you do it. One step at a time, finding products like this and moving it forward. And it's amazing. Amazon FBA gives you the ability to scale that. So you can do it 100 times over. You can do it 1,000 times over. There are months when I sell 1,500 items in 1 month. And it's because Amazon is processing all of it. They're warehousing it for me. When it sells, they pick it off the shelf, they pack it, they ship it, they process any returns, they take care of customer satisfaction. They're doing all the work that I couldn't do if I was trying to sell all those items on my own. So arbitrage is really simple in principle. What's important is you need to be able to identify high quality products. You can't just look at something and say, I think this might sell, or I hope this will sell. I find a lot of people get into trouble because they're going by some sort of instinct that's not really principled. They buy a bunch of product, they send it in, it doesn't sell. Now they're frustrated. They've got all this extra product they don't know what to do with, and it's not selling, it's not making them money. You know, they've spent money and now they're discouraged and frustrated. And really what we do, the reason we created this new membership called Amazon Arbitrage Mastery is to help people identify quality products so that you're really taking advantage of your investment and you're making money by seeing products sell right away. And I put a link in the description there. You can check out our membership at any time. It's called Amazon Arbitrage Mastery. We have a community of people that are set on actualizing their dreams by applying these practical principles. And I'm telling you, you can find items like this in your hometown and you can find them online. And all you need to do is learn how to find and analyze products so that you're discovering what is an actual quality product that's going to sell and make me money. And that's arbitrage. That's as simple as it is. And now you're thinking about how can I multiply that? How can I make it work 100 times over or 1,000 times over? Well, let's get to your questions. I know there's some good ones in here, and Allan's sitting there eager to answer your questions. And so he and I are going to tackle these and do the best we can to give you your answers. The first question I see, Allan, is regarding non-U.S. sellers. So the question that Ahmed asks is, can I leverage this business model from outside the U.S.? What's your answer to Ahmed?
Yes, and basically arbitrage has two different models. You can do retail, which is going straight to the actual brick and mortar stores and shopping from there. But you can also do online. And online is more for people that live here in the US or people that live in a market where there's an Amazon store, but also for people that live outside and they don't have access to any retail stores where they can do retail arbitrage. So for example, we have members of the community that, they're all over the place. In the Spanish version of the training, we have people from Colombia, from Mexico, from different places, and all they do is online arbitrage. So basically, they will go on the website to let's say Walmart.com. They will look for items, try to find the items that have profit on Amazon. They buy the item, send it to a prep center in the US, which is going to be the place where they're going to receive your items. They're going to prep them, make sure that everything's good, send them to Amazon in your behalf. And then once you do that process and the product is on Amazon, then they'll start selling. So that's basically the online arbitrage model. I use it here in the US. People that live outside the US use it. And just to give an example, we just hired one virtual assistant that lives in El Salvador. She does online arbitrage for us. And what she does is she will go to the website, and she just started. We just hired her last week. So, the idea is that she's gonna go to the websites, look for items, find the items, and then send it to us. We'll act as the prep center because we're gonna receive all this product. and then prep it and send it to Amazon. If I'm traveling, the simple thing that I can do is I can switch the products from being sent to my house. I'm gonna switch them to being sent to a prep center, and they can receive it and they can send it to Amazon while I'm traveling or I'm not available. So that's one of the ways that I'm doing online arbitrage. But I'm also looking for products myself. So in order to scale, I have to keep looking for products. I have to have extra help looking for products. So I can, instead of buying 10 units a day, I can buy 20.
Awesome. Online arbitrage just opens up a whole vista of opportunities. And there's kind of a follow-up question here on that. Loving It asks, when doing arbitrage in the US from another country through a prep center, what do you recommend to do with product returns and inventory withdrawal? This is a challenge for somebody who lives internationally, and they're buying products in the US, they're having them shipped to US prep centers so that they can sell them on Amazon.com. But then any damaged product or returns that have to get sent back to the seller, now they're in a bit of a quandary. And before you answer that, Allan, Barry says hello from Texas. So he's down there in the sweltering heat, not too far from you. But what would you recommend to somebody who's an international seller and is having to deal with returns and inventory withdrawal?
Well, one of the things that we always recommend is when you're looking for a prep center or you're interviewing, different prep centers to work with, I always ask that question. Can you handle my returns? Can you resend my returns if I have any returns? And you want to find a prep center that will help you, 100% on your business. So I've used, over the last 3 years, I probably used 4 or 5 different prep centers. The one that I have right now, they help me if I need to send something from Amazon, a return, send it to their place. They can receive that product from Amazon. They will check it, make sure it's still good. If not, because I have other receipts, I can, and mostly for the online arbitrage products, I can request, I can send it back to the retail store. They will do that for me. They will drop it at the UPS store, and it hasn't happened that often, maybe a few times. So they haven't really charged me anything for doing that for me. But they will do that, and you want to find those kind of prep centers where they're willing to help you and kind of partner up, and help you with everything, because especially if they know that you're not in the country, it's a lot harder. So you want to find somebody that is willing to help you with all that. But they do. You will find prep centers that they do everything for you.
Yeah, and somebody's asking about a PDF of available prep centers. Do we have that included below, or will we add it in later?
If you send us an email at help@justonedime.com, ask for that report, and we'll send it to you. I don't have it with me right now, and we can probably add it later on to this video in the description, but I don't have the link right now. So if you send us an email, we'll get it out to you.
All right, yeah, we want to get that to you, so we'll make sure to take care of that. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. J1Tube says, sometimes I pick up an item and I find there's only one seller, Amazon. Will it be still worthwhile to take advantage of that, to do arbitrage against Amazon? My answer is yes. I think often you can compete successfully with Amazon, but I will warn you, there are times when Amazon just dominates the buy box, and you'll have to lower your price to a certain threshold before they'll allow you to win the buy box. So it's hard for me to give you a clear-cut answer because it really depends on the item. I think there is additional risk if Amazon is a lone seller. But again, the fact that you would be the only competing seller could be an advantage. So there are hundreds of times when I'm competing with Amazon for the buy box, and probably I'm making this up a little bit, but probably 80% of the time I'm competitively gaining the buy box and selling my product right along with Amazon. There are a lower percentage of times when I find that Amazon just dominates the buy box. And sometimes if I lower the price a couple times, Amazon holds back, and then I'm able to sell and can still sell at a profit. There have been times when I've tried for a number of months to compete with Amazon. They've dominated the buy box, and I've had to lower my price to do whatever I can to sell the product. So I think there's a little bit increased risk. I wish I could give you a really clear answer and just say, yeah, Amazon always allows you to compete, or no, they never do, so avoid it. I mean, it's just more nuanced than that. But I find the vast majority of times you're able to compete right alongside Amazon. And there are significant seasons in selling that product when Amazon will run out of stock. And so there are times when you'll just see that Amazon runs out. Now you're the lone seller, and you can really take advantage of that. Allan, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, one of the things that you want to make sure that you learn and understand is there's an app called Keepa, and that's going to give you a history of items that sell on Amazon. You really want to understand how to read that information, because there's a lot of different scenarios. And for example, if you can analyze that product and you see that Amazon is not sharing the buy box based on the data that Keepa gives you, then you probably don't want to get into that, because you can kind of see if Amazon is sharing the buy box or not based on that information. But there's also different scenarios. For example, if you see that based on that data that Keepa gives you, you can see that Amazon is being sharing the buy box. Then there's a possibility that you can buy the product and then sell it on that market, on that listing. And also there's going to be situations where you can see that Amazon goes out of stock very often, and then when they go out of stock, the other sellers will sell. So that's another opportunity where you can say, okay, I'm going to buy it because I can see that Amazon goes out of stock very often, maybe in the last 3 months. So there's going to be an opportunity for me to sell that product if Amazon is not on the listing. So you really want to do that, and we teach you all of that inside the membership. But that's one of the ways where you can know if this is a good item based on Amazon being one of the sellers.
Allan, why do you think that the price varies so much with Amazon sometimes? The follow-up question that this person gives is that there's times when he sees that Amazon has the price set at like 3 times higher than the price history shows, and he's wondering why they do that. And he's got an example in mind where the BSR is low. It's like 30,000 in toys. And so it looks like this individual is maybe using Keepa, analyzing history, but just seeing like a lot of fluctuations in the price. And I've experienced that too. Any insights into what's going on with that?
I remember about two and a half years ago when there was a season where we were able to do a lot of Amazon flips. I don't know if you remember that season where you could buy some things from Amazon, directly from Amazon, for $6 and then turn around and sell them for like $50. That's called Amazon flips. And when that was very popular, you will see Amazon moving the price very going down really low and then coming back and then going really high. And the main reason why we kind of understood at that time what happened was that when Amazon is running out of stock, let's say that they only have the last 100 units on that item, and they maybe need to move it because they're waiting for the new order of 5,000, and they have a few hundred units left. They're gonna drop the price really fast so they can move it. But then when they get a big order, they're gonna go back to the regular price, and they're gonna stay there for a long time. And sometimes, depending on the demand, they can probably try and test going even higher, trying to see if people are willing to even go higher than the price. So it's all gonna be based on my experience, it's all gonna be depending on how much inventory they have, if they're waiting for new inventory, or if they're testing to see if they can get more profit out of the products.
And with a BSR of 30,000 in toys, that there's just a lot of sales happening here. And so I think one thing that you can be confident in is that the BSR can be an indication for you that there's going to be a lot of activity, and that can be a real positive thing. And so next you want to start to look at your own margin with a product, and then make a decision based on how you would evaluate that margin alongside what you're seeing as far as price fluctuation. And this is the kind of thing we love to teach in our membership, that we love to dive deep into, is really thinking about how to analyze these different scenarios so that you're creating a win-win. Allan?
Yeah, one of the things that also, like when you're getting into like August, September, I've noticed also that if Amazon knows, especially for toys, if Amazon knows that they're not going to have any more inventory coming in for the end of the year, they want to hold into their inventory, so they bring the price higher. And if somebody's willing to pay for a higher price, they'll sell it. But that's one of the ways that they can kind of slow down the sales, because they know that they might not get new inventory for Q4, and so they try to slow down the sales by increasing the price. So that could be another thing. You really have to kind of see the trends of that product and see, to understand what kind of things Amazon is trying to do. And we're all speculating. It's not 100%, but I've done 3 Q4 so far, and I kind of see those patterns sometimes with different products, especially with toys, because if they sell everything by the end of September and they don't get anything else, they're gonna lose a big opportunity for Q4 if they don't have any more inventory.
Yeah, and then it's a gold mine for you. So as an Amazon seller, you want to be thinking the same way. If there's a lot of fluctuation in price and you're kind of seeing that sort of activity, and you can jump on an item that's going to have a really strong ROI for you, now it's maybe mindful to know, okay, Monday's the start of the second half, and we're really entering into the sweet spot, the fun season in kind of the annual retail cycle that you experience. When it comes to the first half of the year, January is always the best month, and then the other 5, February, March, April, May, and June, are just they're okay. I mean, you certainly can make money, but they just don't have the kind of power behind them that what you experienced in the second half of the year. So starting Monday, we're starting to really get on that trajectory where each month is going to get better and better as we move towards the fourth quarter. And then, of course, when you hit the fourth quarter, it feels like a jackpot, because stuff is just selling rapidly. It's selling at prices that seem extraordinary. I mean, if you talk to your family and friends in October about their gift hunting and their mindset as far as the holidays coming and hunkering down for the winter or whatever it is, they're really focused on spending money on Amazon. And those of us who have sold for years and years see that pattern every year. And so really, if you're thinking of getting into arbitrage, now is a time, because you've got a few months to kind of prep and ramp up for your fourth quarter. You're really going to hit a sweet season of seeing significant sales. And then January is a good month to kind of let the dust settle and recoup, and then rethink your strategy for 2020. And I really think it could be successful for you. So a lot of it's how you're thinking about all these different factors, and how you're analyzing product, analyzing trends, and thinking well about the direction you're moving in. I see a message from Alyssa who says, is it crazy to say I just love learning? And that's my goal now, to just learn. I don't think that's crazy. I think that's a good goal, but it's really ethereal, and it doesn't have a lot of kind of boots on the ground feel to me. And so I think it's always worth the effort to dream kind of what would my reality look like. So if you learned and made some of the right investment decisions to actually start and move an Amazon business forward, what could that look like for you? What would your first goals be, by the end of the year? So come New Year's 2020, what would have actually changed for you? I think that puts some flesh on it, and can really help you get excited and to move forward, because you don't want to just listen to YouTube videos and kind of sit around and learn a ton, but not actually be taking action to move towards your goals. So I'd be thinking through, what are some of the investments I need to make? What are some of the decisions that I can make to actually move to what a real goal would look like, a real tangible goal would look like, and really begin achieving that. Allan, there's a question here you could probably handle quickly. They're just asking, what online sites do you source from? Do you have a couple examples you'd be willing to give?
We do a lot of the big ones, like Walmart, Target. There's one that we shop a lot. It's Sierra Trading, and we try to buy from all of them. like we don't buy from all of them every day, but we kind of scan a lot of them every week to be able to find items. But if you go to the main ones, you're always gonna find good items, and then you can start kind of looking at other stores. For example, we have a list of about, I think it's over 300 different stores that we have that you can go online every day and kind of look at the clearance and see what they have. But the main ones, Best Buy, all of these stores, Costco, which we try to look at all of the stores, and we usually find items, at least one or two items to be able to buy. But yeah, that's the main stores that I usually shop.
Yeah, and if you become a member of Just One Dime, the Amazon Arbitrage Mastery course, we give you that list to like 340 different websites, and we try to do the best we can to really support our members and to give them as many tools to be successful as we can. So those are some good ones, and you can explore them on your own. I mean, there's no reason to be ashamed of going to Google and typing in clearance sales or something, and just you can surf the internet and work some rabbit trails and find yourself in some really good situations where you're finding good deals. Let me see what else we got here. Chan says that he's at $12K a month in RA only. That's awesome. Good work. Looking to scale with online arbitrage and need advice on how to do online arbitrage more effectively. So we've talked a little bit about that. But he's speaking a little bit more to online arbitrage. He says it seems like margins are harder with online arbitrage, and he's able to find better deals in retail. Follow up with some comments on that, Allan.
We do find a lot of items, but we do everything. We've been doing everything manual for the last 2.5 years. We do use a little bit of software, but usually it's a lot harder to find using software. But sometimes it depends on the person. For example, all the different people that I've hired and that I've been working with, they have better opportunities finding everything manual. But I just have one lady that I was telling you about that we hired, that she does online arbitrage, and she uses software. He uses tactical arbitrage, and she's able to find a lot of items that meet my criteria. So I'm very happy about that, because up until now we've been doing everything manual, but now we have somebody that has been able to understand and learn that the software, how to use that software, so we can find more items. The nice thing about using software is that you can scale. You can really put software to work and then just clean it up. So it really depends on your understanding of technology, I guess, and then just putting in the time to really understand and work. But you're going to be able to find items, depending on the category. You're going to be able to find items that meet your criteria and be able to have a lot of profit on them.
Yeah, that's certainly true. In the best world you can get to, and you'll get there with more experiences, to be able to really wed RA and OA together and to maximize the impact you can have with both of them. I'm going to keep moving through lots of questions. Thanks for the activity, guys. I'm going to move through a couple of these quickly. Have either of you guys experienced a slowdown in clearance opportunities this time of year? My answer is no. I see, and Allan's shaking his head no. I think clearance opportunities seem to come and go without a real consistent rhyme or reason, in my experience. For a while, I was trying to kind of map that, and in local stores that I'm doing RA at, I kept thinking maybe it's like the end of the month. Managers are saying, I want to discount these items, at the end of the month to kind of clear out stock. Then I actually, after thinking about it, flipped, and I thought, no, I think it's at the very beginning of the month when they're getting rid of clearance. And now I have no idea. Like, I feel like it depends on the manager of the store. It depends on the store itself and whether they're being told from up upon high, like what to do with clearance. And then I think that gets magnified online. I have no idea why, online retailers are clearancing certain items. Now there's not just one local store at play, but you've got like a whole network, a whole online market, and they're deciding what to do with clearance items. So my answer is, Marcy, I think there's a lot of flux with clearance items, and that's where the treasure hunt comes in. I haven't been able to identify a pattern Allan's saying he hasn't really either. And it's just a matter of finding where they are at the time. And sometimes in a particular store, you might find a pattern like this manager seems to set out clearance at the beginning of every month, but that doesn't mean that you're going to discover that at other places. Let's see what else we got. Isn't it too late to start Amazon FBA? My answer to that is a resounding no. I don't know, Marigis, what would compel you to suggest that maybe it is. My experience and what I understand from the statistics is that Amazon is growing at a rate that surpasses the rate at which people are beginning to sell on Amazon. So even though a lot of people are beginning to sell on Amazon, it's still not as dramatic as the growth that Amazon is experiencing. And when you hear the numbers of Amazon sellers, you might hear a number like we added 100,000 third-party Amazon sellers in 2018. I don't know if that's true, but you hear a number like that, and what you discover is like 90% of those sellers are like my buddy Tom, who sells 1 or 2 items, every 6 months. He's selling books out of his own library. He's kind of using Amazon is just a hobby or a way to sell things, kind of like a yard sale. So, a ton of those sellers aren't thinking about actually establishing a business. And I think Amazon FBA, it remains a unique opportunity. I mean, there is nowhere else that I know of where you can take advantage of a system that's already in place, where there's all these fulfillment centers, all these warehouses and distribution centers, and you can sell retail items through a massively popular marketplace and reach a ton of people through a system that Amazon already has in place. So again, I'm coming right into the system. And when a customer comes to Amazon.com to buy an item and they happen upon my item, I think the vast majority of times that customer doesn't even know that they're purchasing from a third-party seller or that anything's different. They're having the exact same buying experience. They get their Prime shipping. They get their customer service. They have all the promises that Amazon backs. Nothing is different about that. The buy box looks the same. Everything is the same, and their success is the same. And so I just don't know of anything like that allows you to scale. So I think now is the time to get started with Amazon FBA. You're really going to be able to establish a business that could develop margin for years and years to come. Hello, Jeff. I see you saying hello to us. Farah asks, how do you know the most selling product on Amazon? That has everything to do with BSR. Every product that's sold on the Amazon marketplace has a rank built right into it. And so they're telling you what items sell the best and what items don't sell well. And so now there's a massive precedent for what sells. So now you come across an item and you scan it with your app or you're looking at it online, and that BSR communicates to you. It's real-time data from Amazon that tells you how quickly it's going to sell, how many are going to sell. And again, that's what we love about what's available to you is the data is there. The BSR is there. You can calculate your ROI. And what we really try to do in the membership is to help members who are serious about making this happen think really well about how to put all these pieces of data together so that you have confidence. You can really know my investment is going to produce a return, and you can do that with a relative amount of confidence. When I started, I was really skeptical. And I was kind of nervous about it. I remember the first time I bought items, I spent like $80, and I thought, oh man, I could be doing a lot better things with this $80 than just quote unquote wasting it on buying toys, but then stuff sold and I got a return back, and I was like, holy cow. And I began to learn how to think about the numbers so that I got more and more confident. And now you're really starting to move a business forward. Let's see. I'll take one more and then I'll turn it over to you again, Allan. In your experience with new product, how many pieces should I buy for the beginning? Average what is selling, or same amount as the top seller, or 500 pieces as a rule of thumb? And then somebody after that asks a similar question. When you say go wide instead of deep, do you mean 1 or 2 quantity or like 5 to 10? So what we do advocate in the world of arbitrage is to go wide, not deep. And what we mean by that is buy a few number a low quantity of a large variety of items, and that's really how you're multiplying and making success. There are people that do wholesale, and they find an item that they can buy 500 pieces or 1,000 pieces or maybe even more, and they're able to make good money doing that on Amazon. There's just other things that you need to take into consideration. You need to have the capital up front to make that purchase, and then you need to be able to warehouse those items in some way. Nobody would recommend sending 1,000 pieces of an item into an Amazon fulfillment center, because now you're going to get massive storage fees for all those items, unless the sales rank is such that you're selling like 1,000 items a month. And now you're in a whole kind of different world of approaching Amazon. So when we're doing arbitrage and thinking about arbitrage, we are saying wide, not deep. And what I would say to the question, Sion, is that when I say wide, not deep, I think you can go more than 1 or 2 products. I think you can go in the world of 5 to 10 products. But the BSR is the main driving indicator on that, because it will begin to tell you how many you're going to sell. So Mary Just's question is like the average of what is selling, or how do I know the same amount as the top seller? I think you want to begin to think about what is the BSR, and how does the BSR indicate my sales are going to look like per month, and then how many sellers are on that listing. Because, if an item is selling nine times a month, but you're one of 3 sellers, now you're sharing. You got to imagine that you're going to share sales with those other 2 sellers, and so now you're really only going to sell 3 a month. So maybe if you buy 5, you can be confident you'll sell them in a couple months' time, which isn't bad at all in arbitrage. But you want to be thinking about those numbers and letting those numbers drive the quantity that you purchase. But we definitely recommend staying closer to 5 to 10 and less, 50 or 100, unless you really land on a magic deal and you have a corner in your garage you can put all the stuff. All right. Here's what Darren says, Allan, and we've got some time left. After buying this program, how long does it typically take for someone to make enough monthly income to quote unquote fire their boss? I just want to know if this is something that I can get started on doing and taking action once I buy this program, or will it take a while to even get started? How would you respond to that as he's thinking about our membership?
I really think it depends on how much inventory or how fast you can build your inventory. For example, when I started my first month, I only purchased like $175 worth of products, and then I wanted to test it and see if it worked. So I was able to sell a few products. So I said, okay, this works. So the next month I purchased about $500. So I went kind of doubling the amount of inventory the first few months. After the third month, I was, I think I saw like $2,000 in the first three months, and it wasn't a lot. It wasn't enough for me to say, I have enough income coming in, but I proved the system. I knew it worked, and then I just jumped in and I started increasing my inventory. I know people that within the first 3 months they can get to $10,000 in sales, and then the profit out of that is good enough so they can feel confident they can keep growing. And some of them it takes them 6 months to get that. So it really depends on how much capital you have to invest, how fast you can grow your inventory, and also how fast you can understand how everything works. Because one of the first challenges that a lot of people has is finding inventory, finding items. And you can go, and I did, I went to the stores for hours, 6 hours, 7 hours for some days, and I wasn't finding any items. But then it kind of clicked in my brain, and I started to find those items, and I started to, look for the same kind of items on different stores. So I will say that the nice thing about arbitrage is that you can grow and you can scale very fast, but it really depends on how much inventory you can build, or how fast you can build your inventory, and also how much time you put into the business, and a lot of different factors. But if you're really determined, we have people that as soon as they see their first sale, they know it works and they just jump in 100%.
Yeah, and I would add to that the desire to fire your boss is driven by a whole lot of unique circumstances that are your circumstances. And so, obviously somebody who's who's making, $30,000 a year at a job, it's easier for them to fire their boss than for somebody who's making like $150,000 a year. It's just a bigger decision to leave that job, or depending on the amount of free time you have and how risk adverse you are. I mean, I just think there's a lot of circumstances that are behind that question. The cool thing is, I'm convinced that with Amazon Arbitrage, you're in the driver's seat. You're in control of how that looks. And so you begin to make investments and you begin to make money, and you evaluate as you go, how do I want to manage this thing so that it's serving me? And you kind of take it one step at a time. So you don't necessarily need to say, well, tomorrow I'm going to buy the program and fire my boss and just like hope it works out. Like you start working, and when you get additional margin, then you make decisions that are fitting with that margin. So maybe getting rid of debt is one, or whatever. And then as you take more and more steps, you're able to really control the business so that it's serving you. And there will be a time when that means firing your boss, if that's what you want to do, if that's one of your goals. But the great thing is the business is serving your purposes, and now the responsibility is for you to manage that and to think through it well. All right, we're coming into the close of our hour. Let me keep moving on these questions.
I just wanted to add something else real quick, just to highlight your story, Eric. You've been selling for how many years now on Amazon?
It'll be 5 in December.
So after 5 years, you finally, so you were selling for 5 years and still working your full time. So it doesn't, for me, the question is not really, how can I fire my boss? It's more, how can I grow this business, to the point where I don't need this other job anymore, and I can decide I'm gonna leave it now, or I'm comfortable. I can still manage both business, because you can go for years having your job, building your business, and actually using the money for your business to pay off debts, or buy a house or things like that. It doesn't really have to be you do either, or either one of them. You can really think about building your business, managing your job, and then to the point where it's going to give you that margin where you can decide what to do and how to move forward.
Yeah, and it really serves your purposes and your desires. So if I never purposed to fire my boss in the traditional sense. I really wanted the Amazon business to support other goals that I had. And then as I got more advanced in the business, I started thinking, again, I still didn't really want to fire my boss as much as I wanted to be able to make a career transition. So I kind of call that firing my boss, but then I went and put myself under another one, but I kind of redirected my situation so that I'm really passionate. My passions are in line. And so you're kind of managing that. How, if you're in a situation that you just vehemently dislike and your first goal is I want out, then you're going to go after that. And the business is going to serve you being able to actually escape that situation that you don't like. And I think arbitrage can be a great way to do it. We're being asked how much it is to join Just One Dime. If you're joining the Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership, it's a one-time fee of $997. And the question that I would ask myself is that investment worth what I'm going to get back? And I'm telling you, with the leads list opportunities that you get and the tools and resources that are at your disposal and the help that's yours, I think 6 months from now, you would look back and say that $1,000, that $997 is a small investment given how the return I've been able to see and the help that the community has given me. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And so again, check out the link below in the description if you want more information on that. And I think it's a great opportunity that many of you are going to want to take advantage of. We have people joining and they're jumping in and excited, and our coaches are engaged. We're engaged in seeing you succeed, and we're seeing people succeed. It's really exciting. Let's pack in one or two more questions, Alan. There's one directed right at you. Alvaro says, "Hi, Alan. Another question for you." They don't want me to answer this one. But the reason is because you have people working for you. I don't. When you hire a VA out of the USA, like I think he means outside the USA, what tools do you provide that VA in order to work for you?
It depends on the person. Depending on how experienced they are and what is the payment structure that I have with the person. Some of the VAs that I have, I do provide everything, and some of them they do have experience and they do have tools, and I pay a little bit more for that. So it really, you really have to find somebody. If you want to find somebody that has experience, they might already have their tools, but they're gonna charge you a little bit more. But it really, when you compare hiring virtual assistants from outside the U.S. to maybe hiring somebody inside the U.S., the difference on the payment it's very, very big. So I'm happy paying people in the Philippines, paying people in different countries like Guatemala, El Salvador, Colombia, because I know what I pay them. It's very good, a very good pay for them. But for me, it's not like I'm paying somebody here in the U.S.
What is the going rate on average to use a VA?
Between $80 and $90 a week. That's what I pay for most VAs. But I do have a couple of people that I pay a little bit over 100, 110, depending on their skills and their experience.
All right, one last question. Laurent asks, what about too many sellers for the same item? Very difficult to sell, too much competition with the amount of sellers and price. I think my answer to that is it all depends on the BSR and what the sales rank is communicating to you. Because if I have happened upon an item that's selling a lot every month, then the competition is less intimidating to me. I'm not as worried about it because there's going to be a lot of sales, and you can effectively compete for the buy box at whatever the buy box price is. So you're analyzing that product the same way you would analyze any other product. What's the BSR? What's the potential for me to make money? And then you're certainly taking competition into consideration, but I don't think if there's a lot of sellers that it's necessarily a deal breaker. If you have a strong ROI and a strong BSR, you can compete for the buy box. That's our last question that I see. I want to thank you for a fun hour. How cool to have interactions. Allan and I really enjoy doing this, and when there's active participation, it makes our job easier and more fun. And so thank you for participating with us. We really want to encourage you that this is a great opportunity. We want you to know that you're not alone, that we're in it with you, and there's a community available for you to jump in and be a part of. We wish you the best, and we thank you for participating with us. Allan, do you want to say goodbye and before I sign off?
Sure, man. Thanks to everybody for being here and really learning, taking the time to learn and move forward on their business. And we'll be back next week on Saturday. So we'll try to be here, answering questions every week. And we hope that if you guys are ready to go to the next level, just check the description. Seth explains everything that we have in our membership, and if that makes sense for you, we'll be there on the membership. It's not it's not a one course or one set of videos. We have a big community. We have coaches other than the two of us. We have a big community, a lot of training. So that really is going to help you start the business or scale your business if you're already selling on Amazon and you need to go to the next level. But yeah, we'll see you guys the next time, and thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. We're on every Saturday at noon Central Standard Time. Check out the link below. Put comments in below. I look at it throughout the week, and I can respond to any of the comments you put in there. Enjoy whatever's left of your Saturday. Have a great weekend. And for many of you, we'll see you again next week. Take care.